Hey guys, I'm Miss Lisely from the Downtown Library headquarters in Gainesville, and I'm here on Teen Tuesday to bring you a fun and simple craft. We're going to be making t-shirt rag rugs. Now, what you're going to need for this craft isn't a lot of stuff. It's super simple. All you're going to want is some old t-shirts that you don't mind cutting up. And you're going to want a pair of scissors too. Now, if you've got a ruler lying around, you might be able to use that too, but you really don't need it. Okay, so before we start working on our craft, there's going to be two techniques that you need to learn. And the first one is going to be how to turn a t-shirt into t-shirt yarn that we're going to work with. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get your old t-shirt and fold it in half just like this. So you can see this is folded in half lengthwise like this. You want to make sure that your edges match up together. And the first thing we're going to do is just make one cut across here so that we're going to cut the collar and the sleeves off of the shirt, and we're just going to be left with this rectangle. So again, this doesn't need to be perfect, just do your best. You're going to take your scissors and you're going to try to line it up, and you're going to cut all the way across just like that. And so you're going to take this part and you're going to put it aside because we're not going to be using that, and then you're going to be left with your rectangle here. Now, it kind of depends on the shirt whether or not you want to cut the hem off. Some shirts have a thicker hem, and then you'll want to cut it off so it doesn't mess up the size of your yarn. But this hem is pretty thin, so it's not that big of a deal. And so then what we're going to do is we're going to take this triangle and we're going to adjust rectangle, and we're going to adjust the fold a little bit. You're going to take the top fold and you're going to put it about an inch below the fold underneath. So you see you have this little area of the shirt underneath that's free. And what we're going to do now is cut this into strips so that in the end we get one continuous strip of t-shirt yarn. And so the way we're going to do that is we're going to cut about 1 inch strips. And again, this is where if you have a ruler, you might want to use it to space out your strips. But again, this doesn't have to be perfect, so you can just eyeball it as well. What I like to do is try to make sure I keep my scissors the same distance from the edge that I'm cutting so that I know it's going to be approximately straight. And so you're just going to want to cut a strip out, and then you're going to use your folds to go by because you're going to cut all the way up and through that top fold, but once you cut through that top fold, you're going to stop. So our strips are going to look like that, where we've cut all the way through this fold, but we haven't cut through the top fold. And then you're going to keep going and keep doing that about an inch apart until you get all the way through the end of your rectangle. So as you can see here, we've cut all the way through our t-shirt. We've got all the strips, and you can see before you unfold it, it's going to look like this, where you've got the strips, and we've gone all the way across the shirt. Now the next thing we're going to want to do is cut it so that we just have one long continuous strip of yarn. And the way you do that is to unfold the shirt. So up here where we have the fold that we didn't cut, you're going to want to pick it up from there, and you're going to want to open it up. And you can see where we've got the solid piece of fabric that we didn't cut in the middle, and we've got strips on either side of it. And so the way that you're going to do that to start making your strip of yarn is you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut from the edge of the fabric towards diagonally towards your upper slit, the first cut there. So from the edge of the fabric up towards that first slit. And you're going to cut it, and when you cut it, you're going to see that it kind of comes loose and it's all attached there. So you've got that one long piece of fabric. And again, for your next one, you're going to do the same. Now you're going to be in the first slit at the bottom, and you're going to cut diagonally up towards the second slit at the top. And again, when you cut that diagonally like that, you see that you loosen out a whole piece of yarn, and this is still connected. And so you just keep doing that from the slit at the bottom part up towards the slit at the top part. And you're going to do that and release your yarn all the way through the end of the t-shirt, so that you're going to end up with one long piece of yarn out of the shirt. So the second technique you're going to want to know before we start actually doing our craft is how to braid. Now this is just the most basic braid that you can learn. So again, it's not at all complex. What you're going to want to do is cut 3 pieces of the yarn from the t-shirts that we made. You can see I have 3 different color yarns. You can use whichever colors you like, all the same color, but this is just for the ease of showing you how we're making this braid. So you're going to want to get those 3 pieces. I think usually about a foot long, maybe a little bit longer, is the best size that you want to work with, because it'll just, any longer than that and it tends to get tangled in itself and just be kind of annoying. So about a foot is what you want. And so you're going to take 3 of those pieces, and first you're going to take one end and you're going to knot it. And you don't have to have a super tight knot, just enough to keep the pieces kind of together. So you see I just knotted that. And then we're going to learn to braid. And the basic idea of this braid is that you have the 3 pieces, and you're always going to bring your pieces over the middle piece. And then you're going to swap from side to side as you're bringing your pieces over. So right now our middle piece is this green piece. So I'm going to bring the gray piece over that middle piece. And then the gray piece becomes the middle piece. And then you go from this side and you bring the white piece over the middle piece. And then your white piece is the middle piece. And you go back to this side and you bring that over the middle. And then same thing, now our green is our middle again. And you're going to go to the other side and bring this piece over the middle. And as you can see, if you just keep doing that, crossing over your middle piece and switching from side to side as you go, you're going to see that you form a braid. And you just keep doing the same thing over and over as you braid your piece, and that's the only braid that we need to know how to do. So it's really simple. Okay, so now that you've made all your t-shirt yarn that you're going to use, and you know how to make your simple braid, we're finally ready to start actually making our rag rug. So I'm going to slide these over, and then what you're going to want to do to start is just like we did for our braid. I have 3 pieces about a foot long. I've knotted them together at the top, and then I've gone ahead and just done your basic braid for about 4 inches. Alright, and that's what we're going to start with. And then what you're going to want to do to start forming your rug, you're going to take this 4 inches of braid that you made, and you're going to kind of curl it around itself until you've got like a little spiral in the center like that. And that what you're going to do that's going to connect your rug is you're going to take the piece of yarn that's closest to the inside of your spiral, and you're going to take it and you're going to actually put it through one of the braid loops that's on the inside of that spiral. So you can see here where I pull it apart, and you can sort of see my finger sticking through there. You're going to take this piece of yarn and stick it through there, pull it out, And then you see, then you can keep braiding with it. And again, just your same normal basic braid. You're going to keep braiding it. And now you see that it's all joined together in the middle. So this is going to be the very center of your rag rug. And so you keep braiding for a little bit. You maybe want to do another inch of braid here. And then as you turn, you're going to turn with the same loop of the spiral that you did starting. And as you turn, you're going to do the same thing again. You're going to find the loop closest to your inside yarn, and you're going to sort of open it up like this. See my finger? And then you're going to pull it through, and then you're going to keep braiding with it. And you're just going to keep doing that over and over and turning the circle as you go, and you're going to keep making a bigger and bigger circle. Okay, so here we have another little rug that we've been working on. This one is all gray. You can see that we have our start in the bottom, our knot there. And you can see we've been working on this one for a little while. And what I want to show you guys is how to add more yarn into the end. And this could be if you run out of the yarn you're using, or if you want to change a color, which is what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to move to blue instead. And so the easiest way to join the yarn so you don't have like a knot in your rug and it looks pretty nice is going to be what I'm going to show you right now. So the first thing you're going to want to do is in each of the three ends that are attached to your project, and in each of the three ends of the yarn you're about to attach, you're going to want to take the yarn at the very top and you're just going to put a little fold in it. It's not even like maybe a ½ inch. I'm just going to fold it right there. And then you're going to take your scissors and you're just going to make a tiny snip right in the end. And so you can see I just made a tiny little hole in there. And again, you're going to do that on all three of your ends that are what you're adding, and on all three of your ends that are attached to your project. And then let me put one in this one too. Again, same thing, just fold your end over a little, make a little snip, and you've got your little hole in there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the end of the yarn that you're adding, and you're going to put that through the hole of the yarn that's attached to your project. You can see there, it's pulled all the way through. And then you're going to take the end that you didn't cut of the yarn that you're adding, and you're going to pull that through the hole in the yarn that you're adding. So you can see we sort of made a loop, and that the yarn from our project is inside of that loop. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull this all the way through, and keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling, and as you pull, you're going to see that it sort of flips itself inside out. And you're going to keep pulling, and then those two ends are going to join together tightly. And you see, it's almost like there's no knot or anything. It doesn't make it any thicker. And then once you've got all three of them done, you're ready to keep braiding your yarn. Okay, the next little tip I'm going to show you is how we're going to finish off our rag rugs. So you can see this isn't much of a rug because it's very small, but you could use it as a coaster or something if you wanted to use it as that, or as like a plant stand to look cute under a plant. But let's say we're done and this is as big as we want to make our rag rug. I'm going to show you how to finish it off so that it looks really nice. And we're going to start by weaving in the ends where we started. So if you followed along on the back of your rag rug, you should have a pretty loose knot, which is where we started our braids, and some ends hanging here. in order to make that look nicer and so you don't have a big like lump in the middle of your rag rug, what you're going to want to do is undo the knot, and that's why we don't really want to make it too tight at the beginning. So then you just have your pieces of T-shirt yarn just hanging out like this. And then what you want to do is you want to take those pieces of yarn and sort of weave them through your rug as well. So you want to follow your same circle pattern. And so I might take this one and stick it in this loop and pull it tight so it'll be flat against the bottom. And then I'll take a little turn and I'll pull this loop up and I'll stick it through that loop as well. And I'd suggest maybe you stick it through 3 or 4 loops just so you can make sure it's nice and tight and it's not going to come loose. And you can see that in the front I can't really tell where I've stuck it through the loops on the back side because the braids hide it. And so once you're done sticking it through the different loops, again like I said, I do 3 or 4. Put it through this one as well. And you kind of want to go in that spiral pattern so that you can't see it from the outside. Then you can just snip whatever extra bit of fabric you have, and then you see that your end is going to be nice and flat. It's not going to come loose, and it's going to look real good. And then whenever you're finished at the end where you are braiding, wherever you want to start, you're going to basically do the same thing. You're just going to tie them off together a little bit. So I usually take my 2 opposite ends and just loop them around each other so it makes a nice little look. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take those loose ends and you're going to weave them back through the back of your rag rug. I'm just going to pull them through there and then again through here. And once you've pulled them through a few of the loops, you're going to see that it gives you a nice finished end, and you can just snip off that extra little bit after you've pulled it through the loops, and it's going to look nice and finished. You're not going to have any knots in your work. You're not going to have any sort of extra fabric hanging about once you've weaved them all in, and you're going to get a nice finished look. Alright guys, so we're pretty much done with showing you how you actually make the rag rug. I just wanted to show you guys the one that I'm working on. I'm trying to get this one big enough to be like an actual rug, maybe for my dog to lay down on. She will like that. And I wanted to show you the different things that you can do with the patterns. So if you use different colors, you can stripe it. So if you want to spiral some of it and then add a new color, you can see like here in the beginning I went white, green, white, blue. And you can also do multiple colors together. So you can see in this stripe I did 1 strand each of white, blue, and green, and that gives it a really interesting look as well. And you can see in here I was trying just with white and blue, and in here I tried just with white and green. So you can sort of experiment and get creative and do lots of different things using different colors of t-shirts, or even different kinds of fabric. Like if you have some old sheets lying around, you can cut this up and try this with that too. It might have a different kind of feeling because the fabric might be different, but you can also try it. There's no reason why it wouldn't work with something like that too. Alright guys, I want to thank you for joining me on this Teen Tuesday to learn how to make t-shirt yarn and how to make a rag rug from that yarn. I hope you really enjoyed this video and that you try this out. I want you guys to stay safe, and thank you for joining us.